Hello everybody, welcome to Nephron Pharmaceuticals Corporation. My name is Lou Kennedy and I'm CEO, and I am delighted today to welcome my favorite senator, Senator Lindsey Graham. And we wanted to share with them all the things that we're doing around the COVID response, as well as all the medications that we make here. So I'd like to turn the podium over to Senator Graham, and let's hear what he has to say about what we're doing right here in South Carolina.
Number one, Lou, thank you, and to all your employees for letting me be here. She told me her business has gone up about 140% during the outbreak because they make nebulizers that help people with respiratory problems. They're trying to get into the vaccine development business and compounding for antibiotics. And this is a good example of what would happen in America if we brought the medical supply chain back into the United States from China. The precursors to nebulizers are made in China and Italy. Now, we got a good relationship with Italy, but China has not been the friend of the United States on multiple levels. I want a good relationship with China, but I can say this about China. If it were not for the willful deception of the Chinese Communist Party lying to the world about the nature of the virus, we would not be in a worldwide pandemic today. This is the third pandemic to come out of China. Whether this was a lab accident in the Wuhan lab or animal-to-human transmission into wet markets, from wet markets, we don't know yet. But we do know that we've had at least two pandemics come out of China from wet markets where they take exotic animals like bats and monkeys and other exotic wildlife creatures and consume them as part of the food chain and intermingle them with the chicken and the pork in these wet markets as well as seafood. So what am I doing? I'm trying to lead the effort to bring the medical supply chain back to the United States. This is a wake-up call for us as a country. We're not ready here. We're too dependent on China. What does this mean to South Carolina? I was in Pendleton last week. They're making 3 million medical gowns in the Milliken facility in Pendleton, South Carolina. They have an unlimited ability to make masks, gowns, and gloves in South Carolina for our medical workers, the heroes on the front line. I appreciate bringing product into South Carolina from China, but I want those days to end. The next shipment that we celebrate in terms of personal protective equipment for our frontline healthcare heroes, I want it to be from Pendleton, not China. The antibiotic chain, the compounding for antibiotics that we all rely upon to get through our lives here at home, has shifted to China. I want to bring back that chain to here, to Columbia, South Carolina. Lou's facility has an unlimited ability to make products that we need in our daily lives, the medical supply chain, here in South Carolina, not China. So I will be introducing legislation on two fronts. The Berry Amendment is part of the Defense Authorization Act. It requires the United States military to buy military uniforms from American manufacturers. That makes sense. You don't want your soldiers clothed by the enemy. You want to control clothing your own soldiers. I'm going to expand the Berry Amendment to include personal protective equipment for frontline healthcare workers. So going forward, we'll be required to buy America when it comes to PPE. The biggest beneficiary of that change will be companies like Milligan, Greenwood Mills, who now make our uniforms.
And us who use it.
And she uses it. Now, we have tax credits to encourage energy companies to develop alternative energy, made in America energy, wind and solar, trying to have a lower carbon economy, cleaning up the environment, but also to become energy independent. What I want to do is include the medical supply chain and make the medical supply chain eligible for those tax credits. So we should have a national, full court press, all hands on deck approach to bringing back the medical supply chain from China to the United States, where we can control it, where we're not dependent upon China, and at the end of the day, it will create millions of new jobs in America. The medical supplies we need to get through pandemics like this will finally be made in America. I hope there will be a lot of bipartisan support. President Trump, this is one of his greatest initiatives, is to onshore the medical supply chain. I talked to the Vice President yesterday. Lou has met with the Vice President and the President numerous times. He said hello.
That's right.
He said keep it up, and we will be unveiling an effort to bring the medical supply chain back into the United States in the coming days.
I'm all for that.
Amen. Questions?
Senator Graham, what are your thoughts on how well the federal government has handled the pandemic? Did they drop the ball?
Yeah. Well, number one, this is not Trump's fault. It didn't come out of Trump Tower. It came from China. And the Chinese withheld from the world that it was a animal-to-human transmission that became human-to-human. And so if you want to lay blame, lay it in China as to the president's response. The ban on travel from China in January, I think, saved a lot of Americans from being infected and dramatically lowered the death rate. To those who believe if we let the virus just run wild and get it out of our system, that there would not be much difference, I disagree. I believe that on March 13th, when the president declared a national emergency, imposed the CDC guidelines regarding mitigation, that resulted in saving 1 to 2 million Americans from a very painful death. Testing is now sufficient for phase 1 opening. We have 3 phases of how to open the economy. Hopefully by the fall we'll have more testing, which will allow us to open up faster. But I think the president has done a good job working with his healthcare team. We are now the king of ventilators. So it really is about the fall. I think we're going to be more prepared in the fall if the virus comes back. We're going to have more protective equipment. We're going to have more capability here at home. And the breakthrough that I'm looking for, Lou, is a therapeutic drug that can lessen the effect on the human body. If we can find that drug that can take the virus from a 10 to a 1, 2, or 3, keeping people out of the hospital, that will be a major breakthrough. And I do believe by the fall that will happen and a vaccine will be on the horizon. And here's the point I'm trying to make. I want all that to happen in America.
Agreed.
Senator, we've actually started to have, like you said, here in South Carolina, especially here in Columbia, we've been reopening restaurants and things like that. People aren't wearing masks. People are not social distancing. How are we actually able to keep reopening? Is there something you want to say to address that? Because if we do this, there could very well be another spike.
Yeah.
We've seen it in other countries.
So I think the Governor McMaster has followed sound science. The economy has been hit hard. We went from a roaring economy, the best in my lifetime, to a complete standstill. And to all the critics of President Trump, if he had not imposed these guidelines in March and led the country to pretty draconian mitigation, I think you'd have millions of people dead today. I think the hospitals would have been overrun. Now it's time to slowly but surely get back to business, letting the science dictate the pace. To every South Carolinian, thank you very much for following the stay-at-home, shelter-in-place orders. We're now going to begin to open up the economy in phases. I look forward to getting a haircut Monday. I haven't had a haircut in a long time, and I look forward to having that haircut Monday. I'm going to do my part when it comes to wearing masks in closed quarters, social distancing, but we have to get on with the reopening of the economy because if we let it go much longer, we're going to destroy the economy.
Senator Graham, what are your thoughts on Congressman Timmons suggesting South Carolina for a future home for the headquarters of Tulsa?
I would love to. I know Elon Musk pretty well. Everybody's got an Elon Musk story, right? Here's mine. So I was told that there's a guy named Elon Musk who wants to meet you and Senator McCain. He's got a rocket that can put a satellite in space and come back, and you can reuse it again, and you can do it like half price. I said, okay, that sounds pretty good to me. So the people show up. First guy in the door was looked like he was 25. I said, where's Mr. Musk? I said, I'm Mr. Musk. So I've been through the Tulsa plant, and yes, Elon, if you're looking to open up new production,
Right here.
look to South Carolina. We know how to make planes, and we know how to make cars, and we know how to make vaccines, gowns, and compounds. We've got the most quality workforce you'd ever hope to have for manufacturing. If you don't believe me, ask Volvo, ask BMW. So, yes, I would echo what Joe said to Elon Musk. If you're looking for a place to make cars, a reliable workforce, and a pro-business environment, come to South Carolina.
Senator, you previously said carrots and sticks and trying to encourage people to come
Yes.
back and manufacture medical supplies.
Yes.
Carrots are tax incentives. What's the stick?
Well, I think let's start with the carrot approach. Let's try to incentivize people to relocate the medical supply chain in the United States. The precursor to the nebulizers made in China. She's looking at expanding this footprint here, hire a couple of hundred people to go into the vaccine business. It would be great if she could get a tax credit to make that business expansion. I support tax credits for alternative energy, and Democrats seem to like that. To my Democratic colleagues, will you support tax credits to regain the medical supply chain in America? And the sticks we'll talk about later. Let's see how the carrots work. But one of the things we can do on the PPE front is change the law. If the personal protective equipment was treated as military uniforms, that is a stick. That is required to be America. Buy America when it comes to PPE. Make medical supplies in America so we're not dependent on China is the purpose of this news conference. And I'm on this like a laser. We've got one bill introduced. Another one is coming soon. I look forward to working with the administration to make this a reality this year. Thank y'all. You want to say?
Senator, one more question.
Yeah.
I guess I'm curious, do you have anything in place to keep costs down? I mean, it's already inevitable, you're facing high costs.
I can take that one.
Take that one.
I can tell you that the way we operate now is lean and mean. Our margins on many of our products are only a half penny. Right here in South Carolina, China can't compete with that because you cannot ship water over water and even get close to competing. We're using technology and the brain power of South Carolinians to drive down costs and make things efficiently. And that way we're not waiting for products to come here. I never again want to buy PPE from China. I am with Senator Graham on this. I am so appreciative of what he said today. We've struggled to make sure our own supply. We've been called by physicians here locally asking if they can have our supply. We too are in clean rooms. We too are fighting for that PPE. And so I look forward to the day that I can get it from Pendleton, South Carolina. I'm not looking for some middleman to charge me to get it from China and they're not shipping. So I'm telling you, we do it through technology and we do it through brain power, and we have all of that right here in South Carolina. Hope I didn't.
No, that was awesome. So this is a call to arms to American manufacturers. Rise to the occasion. Help your nation. The government's going to incentivize you to bring the medical supply chain back to the United States. We don't want it to be dependent on a communist country for the basic necessities of keeping our healthcare heroes protected. We don't want to be dependent on the Communist Chinese Party for the compounds we need to make antibiotics to continue to have good quality of life. So this is a call to arms. Working together, we're going to kick China's ass when it comes to the medical supply
I'm
chain.
with you on that.